All right, everyone. Welcome to the 17th episode of the Killer Kaiju podcast. It has been a long time in the making to get to this point, but we are officially at the last film in the Showa series. Are you excited, Josh?
Yes, sir. I wish we could add like fireworks, you know?
There's a lot of fireworks in this movie, trust. We saw the last movie. We saw the explosions and fireworks display from Mecha G. And this movie we're watching today is another Mecha G film. We are watching Terror of Mechagodzilla. This film gets missed a lot. That's all I'm going to say for now.
I'm in.
It's still a great film. It's not saying it's bad by any means, but it being right after Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and then this one being called Terror of Mechagodzilla and being a direct sequel, they get often confused. And not to mention, in the Heisei era, there's Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, or Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. And then in the Millennium series, there's Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. It's just, there's a lot. So Terror of Mechagodzilla often gets confused because the designs looks the same, essentially. It gets confused with the one prior to this, and people who aren't die hardcore fans, like us, often don't differentiate the two. But that's what we're doing here today, is to talk about all of that and watch along. If for some reason this is the first time on the podcast, people, and you're just skipping right till the sweet bitter end of the Showa series, we do a commentary / podcast. So we watch the movie, we give us our facts, our opinions, we review it, we laugh, have a good time. And you can either watch the film along with us with the timestamp provided or our countdown, or you can just listen to it as a podcast and enjoy our ramblings and learn a little bit about the films you love. So with that being said, folks, this is a banger. We're going to dive right in and polish off this series with, I'd say, a pretty strong end. It could have been stronger, but it's still a good film nonetheless. So let's polish off our 17 film streak we've had. I mean, technically 15 because we watched the two one-offs, Rodan and Mothra, but this is the 15th Godzilla movie in the Showa series, which marks its final end. All right, so we're going to do the countdown and we will dive right in, folks. 3, 2, 1, and we are starting. So as always, folks, we are watching the Japanese original cut of this film. The American edits are like 5 minutes different, so there is quite a hefty amount cut out. We'll get to those points as it gets there, but most of this footage in this film literally could not be shown to North American audiences because it was too graphic. Ooh. So that should get you a little excited.
Soft.
Yeah, North America is soft as hell. So as I was saying, this is a direct sequel to the last film we watched, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. So for us, it's fresh in the minds. We just watched that movie. They do a little bit of a recap here, and they show us at the beginning. So if you recall, there were 3, well, I mean, technically 4 if you count Anguirus, but there were 3 monsters in the last one. We had Godzilla, Mecha G, and King Shizar, our giant Shisa dog cat-like creature.
Yeah.
And for better or for worse, I don't think Toho really liked King Caesar, and I don't think he was really well received, because just even at this recap here, they show all the footage from the last movie, and they purposely show all the shots without King Caesar in them. And then there's some where they block him out because they don't want you to see him, like almost pretend like he wasn't in that movie. Poor guy.
Not my favorite, but he wasn't the worst.
Yeah, I liked how he could retain beams and shoot them back. I thought that was really cool.
Like, I don't want to hate on Mothra because I like the final form, but whoever created the first one that's way worse. It's a giant turd.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what caterpillars and larvae look like.
I know, but it looks weird, especially in film form.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So
I have a question for you. No. I got a question for you. And I was thinking about this. Okay, cool. So if you could create a different version of Godzilla, which version would you make? How there's a metal version. Myself, I would make a whole fire version of Godzilla, just flames.
Like burning Godzilla.
Yes, just giant flames everywhere. Everywhere he steps, it just melts houses and causes destruction. I think that would be really cool.
That's such a great idea. It might already be done, Josh.
I hope so. That would be badass.
You will definitely get to see that in the Heisei series to some degree, and definitely in the new Legendary films.
So what would yours be? Concepts, my friend.
For the longest time, I always wanted to see a Godzilla that slowly progressed and evolved, kind of like we've seen like, Hedorah and stuff like that. And I got that wish with Shin Godzilla, and the new Godzilla anime Singular Point has a similar-esque thing to it. However, that got fulfilled for me, but that was always what I wanted as a kid, was to see something like that, because I was a big fan of, like, we were talking about like Dragon Ball characters, and like a lot of animes do that, and it's a really cool concept to me, especially when he represents destruction and how it starts from nothing and becomes something great, and but that's tough. Like, I always thought like an elemental Godzilla to some point, like something that's Lovecrafty and like from space, kind of like Ghidorah. But then we get Space Godzilla, but it doesn't quite dive into that territory so much. But I would really
feel like Ghidorah would have
been
good as like one head having fire, one head having water, one head being like the
like an elemental Hydra.
Yeah, because you said the element. I'm like, I always thought Ghidorah would be perfect for that role, but that's just because I think of like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh and all these other dumb things. And I'm like, yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love the blood.
Yeah, I love the amount of blood they had in the last one. So just to dive in a little bit to the specialness of this film, there is a great deal, because Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla did better than the last ones. It still didn't do great because of declining movie ticket sales, and essentially they knew this was going to be the last Godzilla for a long time. So Tanaka and Toho wanted to throw all their cards out. So they actually got Ishiro Honda, the original director of Gojira, and who did the first couple movies and most of the Showa ones, actually. He's coming back to direct this one, and this is his last movie, or his last Godzilla movie he directs for sure. And even Ifukube comes back to do the music, so he do our original Godzilla theme and everything like that. So that is really, really cool. And the most intriguing part of this movie is the screenplay, and the plot was actually done by our first, technically in Son of Godzilla, we had a co-female writer, but Yukiko Takayama did the script for this, and she actually Toho hosted a contest basically, and they wanted, who could come up with the best screenplay, the next big Godzilla idea, and she was one of the winners selected, and this was her whole story that got turned into their final movie.
That's rad.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Nice little touch.
I want to see like Godzilla but dressed as Jason. That would be cool.
Just like a
crossover sticker.
Yeah. Or like it was like molded somehow to his face, like kind of like it is in Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X.
That would be cool
to have that kind of look. So this movie also, like we were talking, I think last time on the last episode when we watched Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, we were talking about our one and only favorite actor, Akiko Hirata, who played Serizawa, Eye Patch Man, and he was in the last one briefly. And I told you he was in this movie, but I wasn't going to tell you who he played. And I want you to try and guess, because he looks dramatically different. And I want you to try and guess while we're watching it. After he shows up on screen a few times, after he comes up on screen a few times that you don't get it, I'll eventually point him out later, because I have to point out how silly it is. But he's definitely in this. And even our antagonist from the last, who was the leader of the Black Hole Planet 3 aliens.
Okay.
He's in this too. And he's playing, again, the leader of the same alien race. But not, he died in the last one, as you remember.
I don't
know. So I would think that, and his name is different. So in my mind, what I think that is because we're dealing with the same aliens again in this film. I think that maybe they have just, they have certain human skin that they project on themselves. And it's almost like, this one's taken. You can't be this one. So like their captain always looks like this guy. So the other guy died, and they use the same cloning software to make him look like him, type deal. Like to kind of look
basically every Enterprise Earth has a Captain Kirk kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I had to put it to logic to things I know.
But yeah, this movie definitely gets tossed up a lot. I hadn't seen this one until I was a lot older. Space I definitely Titanium. Missed this one. And there's a lot of Space Titanium in this movie. Don't you worry. The Space Titanium makes a return. That is for sure. So, and also this is the final Godzilla movie where Godzilla is kind of the hero. This is the final time we'll see Godzilla as a hero. Every single other Godzilla movie from now on up until past the Millennium series, I want to say, up until Final Wars. So like the whole entire Heisei series, Godzilla is never the hero. always the villain, which is why they're great. I'm a bit biased. After we're done with this film, guys, we're going to hop right into the Heisei, or also known as the Versus series. And we're definitely going to be tackling the shit out of those movies. And most of people agree those are the cream of the crop. So I'm very excited to get into those. But let's not get too distracted from this film. So we're getting our first shot of one of our main creatures in this movie attacking this submarine. And once he makes an appearance, I'm going to ask you what you think of his design. Because originally it was supposed to be different in the original screenplay that she wrote in the story, but due to budgetary reasons, they kind of had to change him. So we'll get more into that once he shows up, so I don't ruin his grand appearance here. I don't like the underwater shot of the submarine here in the water. It very much just looks like they pulled the drain on a bathtub and they had a toy in the tub still. So here we go. We are greeted to the one, the only Titanosaurus. What does that shot remind you of?
I don't know.
Power Rangers?
Man, I've only watched like very little Power Rangers in my life.
Oh, bro.
Wild Force for
Power
the most
Rangers,
part.
For those who aren't watching, Power Rangers has this iconic shot whenever the ending comes and the Megazords or the bad guys grow into the bigger version. It's like an upwards from the ground shot and they go, and they look like they're growing to massive size. That's all I think of when I see that shot. But the interesting shot about that is it was really sunny in the background. Like there was a sun and it looked like real sky. So that wasn't shot in studio. That shot was actually done on the beach. So those poor suit actors had to be outside. And I like the coolness of the shot, but it also contrasts later on when we get that shot again, because they do it a couple times in this movie. And then when it cuts to a side view, the sky of the studio looks a lot different from the sky that's outside. My only complaint. I love the shot though, so it's worth it, and I'm glad they do it that way. But
just gotta enjoy the movie, my friend.
I know. Trust me, I know.
This is why I like doing this. I can just watch and pay attention to these, and you ramble, which is okay with me because I'm like into it. I'm like, yeah, cool, flying saucers.
Do you recognize this actor here who just walked in, who's holding the book? He would have been in Godzilla versus Megalon. Wait till we glance back to see him again here. I believe he didn't play the race car driver, but he played the inventor, the guy who controlled Jaguar and invented him.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's coming back, which is really cool. I'm sure he's been in a few other films as well, but I mean, most notably for me, it's always going to be Godzilla versus Megalon. He's great. And I don't think this is his last film. He's in a couple other Godzilla films in the future. I think he comes back for the Heisei series later on. Another actor who is commonly known to appear at G-Fest in Illinois. So that's super exciting.
What would you get signed by him? Like a suit tie?
You know, I don't know if I would get anything.
Would you just get like a DVD signed by like all?
Yeah, I think I would.
Because like it's hard to get their props, right? So it's like, well, you would just take the insert, right? You take the insert with you and put it in a sleeve, and then get them to sign that, and then.
Yeah, like if it was him, I have a hard DVD single release of Godzilla versus Megalon, original Japanese release. I'd probably get him to sign that. So, oh man, it's hard to get these movies on VHS, and if you do, they're not in good shape.
Well, if you can find them, that's what I would personally get.
Somewhere
signed.
I had Godzilla versus Megalon and Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla on VHS. I had those growing up for sure.
I know there's a store around here that may have a few. I'm gonna look.
Yeah, do it. We're pick them up, bro.
I like me some VHS.
Look at that nice painted backdrop. Actually, you know what? I don't know if that's a backdrop. I was gonna say.
I honestly was questioning it. I'm like, it looks like it was just super sunny outside.
Look at this, sir. We've got standing in the suit here, the one without facial hair. See, now he looks a lot familiar from the last film we just watched. But again, playing a different character. He was the bad guy in the last one.
He's
playing the bad guy in this one.
All I saw was side face, and I was like, "What the fuck am I looking at?" I'm like, I'm half blind, man.
Yeah, I would say that's they are actually in an apartment building of sorts, or an office looking out there, because that's how they got these shots. They probably just shot it out the window.
Yeah.
Because I doubt they had green screen and blue screen yet.
Just paint the whole window.
Couldn't afford to do that kind of shit yet. So I love how they're already laying out their entire plan. They're showing you that they're like rebuilding and taking over Tokyo, and they're being more smart about it now, which is nice rather than the last
Hunger Games.
Yeah, it's kind of what it looks
sections. Or Attack on Titan.
Oh, bro.
Like when they climb over the wall, I was like, that's oh god. Brutal.
Who would win in a fight, the Colossal Titan or Godzilla?
Honestly, I feel like the Titan, because he might try and eat him.
Nah. I'd say Godzilla's
will throw a rock at him.
I mean, it depends on what Godzilla we're looking at. Showa Godzilla, I'd say Colossal Titan. Heisei Godzilla, oh well. We'll see how overpowered Heisei Godzilla is. When people think Godzilla. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, go. Oh, okay, we got to recommend this to that fight channel on YouTube where it's like this guy versus this guy, like Batman versus Goku.
Yeah.
We got to get him to do the Attack on Titan versus Godzilla.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, go.
What was I going to say? Bloop, bloop, bloop. Oh. Who's that?
In the early 30s.
See, okay, so I'm going to show you here because that's Akira Harada. That's our eye patch man there.
Yeah.
So they're showing back in flashbacks here. Yeah. So they're saying obviously that like he was outcasted by their scientists because he believed in crazy things and they kicked him out and called him crazy essentially. So that's obviously what he looks like, but he looks different when he actually appears. This is all old footage.
They're all just beating him.
Yeah. He's going mad. He's a crazy man.
I know they were all photos, but clearly they made the actors act out the photos.
Oh, yeah.
They all did really good, to be honest. I was like, I believe a lot of those. I was like, wow, he's getting beat up.
We'll get the sad and the sad and the depressing out of the way now, folks, so we can really appreciate this film as we watch it. This is Akiko Harata's last Godzilla movie as an actor. I think it's his third last film in general, and he was slated to be a lead role in Godzilla 1984, which was the first Heisei movie, 9 years later after this. And he did some early help in the production and helped do some writing with the film. And he fell ill because he was been battling lung cancer for the past couple of years and was unable to do his role and sadly passed away in 1985. So this is his final appearance in the series as an actor. And he was the man who started it all. So we're going to throw lots of credit at him while we're watching this movie and respect for sure. So our eye patch man comes to a close. He was there from the beginning and he's here till the end.
I want to go fishing off that dock. That looked rad. Sorry, I was just staring at him like,
here we go. So this is the coolest thing. So obviously in Gojira, the first one, you remember Serizawa's laboratory, right?
Yeah.
This is the same building they filmed in. Yeah. And it's come round circle all the way to this one. And now they're doing it again. Look how much it's aged.
Well, what are we're like 20 something years?
Yeah. And the first one was shot in black and white, so it looked a lot more clean kept. And they obviously filmed this in the fall and let it go really intentionally to make it look kind of deserted. But yeah, and that place is still there today. You can go visit it. As we were talking about, it's kind of like a museum-esque gift shop you can go to now, which would be amazing to go to. I would love it. So just a flashback to Yukiko Takayama, who was our contest winner, who did the plot for this movie. She originally had attended a private school where she was cast to, write basic plots for things. And she heard that Toho was hosting a contest. So she actually did it as one of her assignments and then submitted it to Toho and was actually selected to win, which I think is really cool. I mean, 2 birds with 1 stone, right? She maybe gets a movie deal and she's doing her school as well. And I believe the girl who plays the daughter here, who we're looking at, this is her first time acting, and I believe her only time acting. And it was funny because on set, she always wanted to smile because she was used to always being told to smile for roles and acting and stuff like that, right? But as we're gonna learn to know, she doesn't smile a lot in this movie, and she kind of had to practice not smiling because they're like, no, you look too happy, too much emotion.
Honestly, that would be me. I'd be happy to be there. So it'd be like, I can't help it.
Yeah. as the movie progresses too, folks, for those who have seen it, Josh obviously hasn't seen these movies. That's the special thing about our podcast. So once more plot is revealed, we will come back and talk more about how these relate and why they are, and kind of open it up, kind of like a blooming flower.
I'm a blooming flower.
Yeah, she'd rather not judge up the past. So she said her father's dead, and that's the man they're looking for, who was her eye patch man who went crazy, and he's died. And she said that she'd rather not, dig up the past, and she's destroyed all his research on Titanosaurus because they're obviously trying to figure out what went wrong because the military sub was taken down by Titanosaurus.
It pissed him off.
Yep.
Or her. I don't know. I don't hate.
Cheers. I like those glasses. They're like short and stubby, but still like wine glasses. Like he took a wine glass and just compressed it down. I do like how Titanosaurus is very colorful. He's a lot more colorful than most of the kaiju we've seen so far. He literally looks like something out of Ultraman. I really like about him. It gives him this
Power Rangers showing up.
Yeah, exactly. So she's obviously lying through her teeth. She's like, yeah, they're dead. And then she just walks downstairs. They're still alive. He's still alive. The secret mirror passageway. I love the fact too that that's clearly just a mirror and someone standing on the other side sliding it by hand. It works, but it's just funny.
Practical effects, my friend.
What do you think of this old guy here? The wig, the obvious wig. Do you know who that is?
Oh, that's Eye Patch Man.
It sure is. With the fake
fucking took me a second. I'm like, wait.
It's the nose. It's the nose that gives it away. He's got a very dignified
I think
nose.
it was like the glasses and nose together.
Yeah, because it
was the hair that threw me off, but I was like, he kind of looks like the Colonel.
Yeah,
like Sanders. And I was like, nah, it's not that. Oh my god. What?
The Colonel. I told you.
He does look like the Colonel. He did.
You have to do a meme where the two officers walk up to the house and they're asking, is the Colonel home? And she's like, I told you he did.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
I've
never drawn that parallel. He 100% looks like the Colonel.
That's what I assume the Colonel looks like. And I mean
that's what he looks like on the, that's what he looks like on the logo.
Marketing.
Oh my goodness.
Turns out it doesn't look like the actual Colonel Sanders at all. Like it's like the Richard Ramirez thing where like the wanted poster has like does not look like Richard Ramirez at all. No. It's gonna be like that.
I think we're coming up on one of the scenes too that blew my mind the first time I watched it. I mean, it still does.
Fake walls. Yeah.
So they open here. That looks like a matte painting. So I was like, oh, they're not going to show them walking through it because it looks like a painting, right? And then they walk through it. I was amazed. Does it not look like fake? It looks like a matte painting. Like honestly, the officers
I thought it was
moving.
Real just because I was looking at the side pieces.
Okay.
And then also I thought of, man, that would be cool to skate. Sorry, I had to burp.
So in the last one, we just had them in the space titanium suits, no headwear. They all have helmets now. I don't know how I feel.
They learned safety first,
I guess, but they're a little silly. I love the shots. Whoever did the special effects for this shot where Mechagodzilla's in the building bay and he's getting all the repairs done. This looks great.
That'd be a kick-ass miniature.
Right? Like imagine having that in your house.
This is the next one, my friend, you got to create. So we can just make a miniature of it. Literally do that base with the tube all the way up, the little raptor things, cords everywhere. That'd be easy peasy, but real dope.
So a little bit of insight. My birthday's coming up and my mother was so gracious to be like, well, what would you like? And my answers were simple. Zone Fighter, which is coming in. It's been ordered and we're going to be covering that on the podcast. They have the original Zone Fighter series coming in. And she also got me a Mecha G figure. So I actually have a Mechagodzilla figure coming in. I believe it's already arrived. It is the newer ones, though. It's from the Millennium series. So it's the Kiru. Jesus Christ. How many times is it going to take me to say that? Sorry, guys. I have a little bit of a stutter. Which is technically Mechagodzilla 3. And he's probably one of my favorite designs besides this one. We'll get into the more Mecha Gs as we go on, but I would say my ranked Mecha Gs are easily the newest one, So Kiru, and then this one. I take this one and the one in the last film is the same, even though they do look different. This one looks better, it's guaranteed. And then the Heisei Mechagodzilla is my least favorite. I don't include the new one from Legendary because I feel like he's so dramatically different. I'm really excited to get to those movies. Josh is going to love those ones, that's for sure.
I want to see more of the Titanosaurus thing. Tinosaurus, whatever the hell
it
is.
Titanosaurus.
Whatever.
And the reason for him
down
being
the
called,
Titanic.
The reason he's called Titanosaurus too, we'll get into that now. The original concept, like I was saying, it got cut for budgetary reasons. Titanosaurus was supposed to be called Titan. And what it was is it had two heads. And apparently when they merged together and if they got intertwined, they became like dangerously aggressive and like wild. So here we have their human prisoner. I love this. He just does a random flip. He's like, I'm running away trying to escape. Hey, this looks like a good spot to do a flip. Just a random front flip.
So basically horror movies.
Yeah.
Running away from anything.
We get a really dark turn though. As you can see right now, it's like he's not yelling for help or anything, right? So we're like, what's going on? He hasn't said anything. Whoa.
Oof.
Notice on his throat. I don't know if you noticed on his throat, but it almost looks like he has his throat slit. Like they cut his throat open to take away his ability to talk. Almost like a Colombian necktie kind of scenario.
Damn.
For those who don't know, a Colombian necktie is when you're... Actually, Josh, why don't you explain the Colombian necktie?
Neck slit, tongue pulled out.
Sewn back up.
Probably the easiest way. Except for I found a more brutal one, the Vikings with the blood eagle.
Oh yeah.
That thing's terrifying.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll do a specific podcast just uncovering ancient torture methods and we'll rank them. We'll do a ranking of the most brutal torture methods used in
the metal bull. That's another one that sorry, I'm just nerding out now. I'm like thinking about all the other weird ones. The guillotine itself. Think about all the people that thing is like.
Live mummification.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like public hangings. Like oof, but that
I mean, imagine being mummified, wrapped up, shoved in a sarcophagus, and then have something put in it alive with you, and you just pretty much get buried alive.
Where they shove a little needle up your nose and just scramble it around, and then your brains come out.
Oh yeah, because they gotta remove all of your organs and stuff, and that's how they got the brain out, right? Because they didn't have like the means to cut your head open, so they would just scramble your brain and take it out through your nose or your throat. Yeah.
Gag.
So here we start to see. I know you're not a big fan of romance, but the romance in this one's actually really interesting, and the more this movie goes along, the more interesting it gets for a really cool reason. But obviously, that's the daughter of our mad scientist, our eye patch man, who was like, they died. And then she's all like, I thought you told us that your father was dead. And she's like, just forget about Titanosaurus. Just move on. A lot more humane than she was earlier. Almost like she's acting differently than she was earlier. Like some kind of split personality shit going on. I like the one guy too that's working with them, and she's obviously waiting to get picked up by him. That old guy who's kind of balding a bit. If you remember, he was in was it Destroy All Monsters when he finds the rock that was one of the homing devices, and he shows it to the police, and he's like, "Oh, look, see?" And they're like, remember that time we went up to space together?" Yep. He's been in a few of them, but this is another one he's been in.
Yeah, there's been a lot of alien work in these movies. I didn't expect that for a Godzilla movie.
Yeah,
I mean, thought it would be more just like dinosaur and monsters, but just not a lot of space stuff.
A lot will be the Heisei series for sure. The Showa series, especially Ishiro Honda's style, all about the aliens, man. All the aliens. Well, because back then it wasn't as people expected something dramatically different every time you went to see a movie. It wasn't like they could stick with a franchise. Like at this time, franchises and series weren't really things yet. This is like one of the earlier like capitalize on a movie and make money off of it scenarios, right? The only other thing that was similar to this at this time period was like James Bond films. That was it. And that's why these movies take a lot from Bond films, because they're like, well, hey, if they can successfully do it, we have to adopt what they're doing somehow, because obviously the formula is working.
I could see that, especially in a lot of the characters.
Mm-hmm. No, so here you find out that his wife passed away and she used to sacrifice everything for him. So he expects his daughter to do the same. Kind of a jackass.
Throw your daughter under the bus.
But really though, eh? God damn. So I think the only difference on this Mechagodzilla is instead of he actually has MG on his arm, like an emblem, but it says MG2, which is funny because he's actually just still Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla 2 is the name of the one in the Heisei series, but
it's a version 2, I guess.
What is that?
Space Titanium.
Space Titanium. So that's what the guy was
trying to
flee with.
Why didn't you have a counter for this?
This one doesn't have as much Space Titanium talk. So he said this guy burst out of the bushes and handed that to him and then told him and then ran away. But see, he can't talk. He's got a scar. That's some dark shit. I don't know why the father and the daughter trust these guys. The second I found out aliens were like taking human prisoners and shit, I'd be like, I'm not going to trust you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a part of this.
Right? They're not making very good decisions. Not to mention, I have to talk about this now. So we learned that they've obviously had him working on this stuff for years, as they mentioned, right?
Yeah.
The last film didn't happen that long ago. And this is the continuity error in this one. This is the one thing that really does bother me. In the last film, the aliens talked about how they, didn't have contact with anyone on this planet. And that looks like a microwave. Sorry. Probably was. The elevator going up looks like a microwave. But in the last film, the aliens said how they didn't have any contact with anyone on Earth to work with or anything like that. Wouldn't they have had this guy?
I don't know, man.
I'm just saying maybe there's some time mishaps I'm missing out on here, but this is a cool shot. It's obviously screened in, but it cut in, but it looks cool, like how they're actually entering Mecha G. Because in the last one, you never saw people go inside him and actually work.
Yeah, like he's a giant ship kind of thing.
Yeah, gets more to like that Pacific Rim Star Wars style, where they go in and actually pilot the mechs themselves, like Gundam. Those helmets, that we got to go as these guys to G Fest. If we go, we got to dress up like the Black Hole Space Alien 3s.
I'm in.
With helmets.
That's
and
a
all.
role play.
That's it, right? Gonna stick this space titanium somewhere nice.
It kind of looks like a Pokemon. It's the things on the head. They look like eyes.
Like some kind of insectoid, like antennas or some shit.
It's like he's going to be the role play.
So here we get the first little hint at his daughter's
cosplay, not role play.
Yeah. His daughter, he says his daughter knows more about Titanosaurus than he does. So I want to know what now you're probably thinking, what's his daughter's role in this? How is she, because he's the expert, right? So how does she know more about Titanosaurus than him? So there's a lot of weirdness. I feel like a lot of this goes hand in hand. If you remember Ghidorah, the three-headed monster movie, where there was the one girl who was hypnotized from the person from Venus. Yeah. She was the weird princess. I get a lot of feeling from that role the same way I do from her. Like something's not quite right. Like what's going on? I think it's done better in this one. In Ghidorah, it just kind of seems like she's a lost cause. In this one, she seems more secretive and knows what's going on, but she still has that, I'm not really sure how I feel about her. Like what's her play in all this type of thing going on? Like sometimes she's really serious.
Of some sort.
Yeah, maybe because of the fact she's so serious with them. And then when she's with the other people, has more humility. Even there, she knows she's messed up. See? Now she has like the conflicting, who do I believe? Do I side with the aliens or do I side with the people?
The aliens.
They don't think so. Whoa. She's super strong though. You saw that.
Maybe she's a cyborg.
I think you're onto something. So in the last one, remember the last movie, it was supposed to be called Godzilla versus the Bionic Monster. And we had that whole talk about how that makes no sense because bionic means something mechanical controlled by something flesh.
Yeah.
Well, I think this movie would have been more suiting to have the word bionic in it.
I'd have to agree, especially having her in it, and then them showing that the humans are going in the suit, I guess.
Yeah. So here we get the explanation on what happened to her. This is important here. So obviously the sepia tone shows it's older. And we see the doctor working, and he looks older than he did, but not fully old. I think the way he looks here is how they should have portrayed him in the movie, not with the stupid wig
or Fantastic Four, Mr. Four kind of thing.
Yeah, Reed Richards.
Yeah, that's who he looks like to me.
So the man electrocutes his daughter, pretty much. That's what happens, and she dies.
Oof.
And then the aliens who have not space titanium on, apparently they were out of space titanium uniforms. It was laundry day. They pick her up and escort her out. And they're like, don't worry, we got this, but you can't come.
Gonna make her.
So this is where this movie goes into some really cool sci-fi Frankenstein-esque territory. So Josh was going to come out and say it. I think we can say at this point, she is a cyborg. She's half human. She is the bionic woman. Part human, part cyborg. So I know we talked about the last time we saw nudity, and the only other time we saw it was in Godzilla versus Megalon, I think, because it had the pinup girls in the truck.
Yeah.
This is the other one, and the last time we get nudity in a Godzilla movie. This is a little more in your face, though, and it is one of the scenes cut out of the American cut. So if you're watching the American cut, sorry, no boobies for you. So later on, they'll obviously, it's another surgery scene with her. They flash back to that scene, or I think it's maybe a newer scene. Either way, she's being operated on, and there's prosthetic boobs made. Obviously, technically, they're fake in the movie because she's a cyborg, and they're fake in real life because they made them. Which is interesting because this movie was actually made to feature at one of the children's movie festivals, I believe, that they do. So this would have debuted in the way it was that we're watching it now in front of all these kids. Yeah, the Children's Champion Film Festival. This is one of the few Godzilla films with nudity, as there is a scene in which Katsura's breasts are exposed, albeit a prosthetic. Which is funny because in the scene, the actress actually recalled that she fell asleep and she actually dozed off during the filming of the scene. And everyone just told her not to move and just to get cozy. So she actually fell asleep. So it was realistic looking because she was being operated on. Hey, that's like true method acting.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Literally just sleep through it.
Right. And as always, I always have to point it out, in Germany, when these movies released, it was called Konga, Godzilla King Kong, Die Brut des Teufels. So it was called, he translated to Konga, Godzilla, King Kong, the brood of the devil.
Jesus, what a name.
Konga obviously referring to Titanosaurus, Godzilla being Godzilla, and King Kong being Mechagodzilla.
What?
I just can't with Germany sometimes in their releases. I love it.
I wish the dinosaur dude, or fuck, now I can't remember his name. Titanosaurus, whatever the
hell it is. Titanosaurus.
Just ate the sub. Quite literally like a sub sandwich.
Like nothing. But obviously these are our main characters here, and she knows they're going after them, and she likes them, so she's not going to let this happen. Oh, see, why is this bitch always touching things getting electrocuted?
Maybe it's every time she touches technology because she's a cyborg.
I think she's just stupid. She's touching stuff she shouldn't be touching.
Yeah, I guess that works too.
Ah. So he obviously thinks it was something they did, but it was her. So that's the first time we kind of get the link that there's something connecting Titanosaurus and the daughter.
Like that little kid in Godzilla.
Yeah, who had like the telepathic connection, like we were talking, that could be like the future of like the Shobijin type scenario.
We're on to something, my friend.
I'm telling you, we're on it. This movie's a little shorter than the other ones too. It's just spanning, at least our version, at an hour and 23 minutes. So it's actually 3 minutes shorter than the usual. Which is a shame because this is the last one. We are at 36 minutes, almost 37. Bad.
Sorry, again, blind, so all I see is like tiny numbers.
Yeah. I feel like this movie's paced pretty well. And especially because it has lots of callbacks like to the last film. It works really well in tying it all together. Like I would easily watch the last movie and this one back to back if I was viewing them kind of as one 3-hour epic. Even if you watch both films, it's still under 3 hours. So you can watch a Lord of the Rings movie, or you can watch like a quarter of the Godzilla series. Facts.
Can you imagine watching all of these movies like we have, but like in one sitting?
Oh my god, bro! What do you mean? That's what I've been doing this whole lockdown.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
And and honestly, the Heisei series is only like 6 movies, so it's very doable.
All
So
right,
the Showa
fair
series
enough.
is the longest. There's 15 films, not including the one-offs. The Heisei series is 6. I think the Millennium is only, or the Millennium is 6, and I think the Heisei is 7. I could be wrong on that. I'll count them up later. Little fun fact moment for y'all while we're kind of in the lull of the film here. Super cool. For any Nintendo fans who have played the earlier Metroid games, exclusively Super Metroid. I don't know if Josh, have you ever played the Super Metroid before or seen anything from it?
Because I was telling you about how I've only ever played the one for GameCube.
Oh, Metroid Prime, right.
Yeah, and it was only like all I remember is rolling through some tubes.
So there's 2 bosses from Super Metroid. One's very popular for having one of the earliest video game like jump scares in a 2D platformer. It's when you beat Crocomire. He's like this giant, like short crocodile with long arms. He like crawls his way towards you, and when you kill him, he falls into the lava, and you think he's dead, and you go to leave, and all of a sudden the wall breaks, and he comes through as a skeleton, and he starts running after you, and then he collapses. Here we get some kinky shit. This guy's whipping his people for being bad. He's like, oh yeah, we've been bad. Whip us harder. It's all right. They're wearing full onesie suits, so we're just,
The helmet.
We're just a couple skin shots away from a kinky bondage porno here. So some Dom action. Anyway, to go back to our Metroid story. So when you kill Crocomire, his scream is actually none other than Titanosaurus's roar, as an homage to the Godzilla films. The same can be said for Dragon. His roar is actually Anguirus's roar.
I like that. We're using sound effects.
Yeah, I mean, if they had them in stock, right, and if they're fans, it's a nice little homage. And as long as they don't get slapped too hard by Toho, I'm sure they at one point found out and had to pay some kind of fee. But I mean, it'd be worth it. Better than making the sounds yourself, because that's what makes those monsters. Like Crocomire is terrifying. As a kid, I always wondered why it sounded so similar. And it wasn't until I saw this movie, I'm like, it's a Godzilla roar. It's Titanosaurus's roar. It sounded like a kaiju roar. And Titanosaurus's roar is honestly, it was made with the same instruments as Gamera, which is another film series we have to tackle. I imagine we'll probably watch the Heisei series, and then we'll go back and watch a lot of the old Showa films. Like we'll watch Dogura, we'll get Zone Fighter going, we'll watch the Gamera films. But I think we should really get through the Heisei, aka the Versus series next, because we have them. We're on the Godzilla grind, and it's really cool to jump to the Heisei series and watch how much Godzilla really evolved over those years. It's really cool to watch them one after another like that, as much as I'd like to go and watch the older films we missed. I think it'd be the coolest and most beneficial, especially for Josh, not seeing the Heisei, to really watch the jumping quality.
Yeah.
Because it is a 9-year jump. Like this is the last one, 1975. It was filmed in the 74, 75. I think it was filmed in 3 months. It was pretty fast. And then obviously Godzilla 1984 started production in 83 and then was re-released in 85 in the States, which is a significantly different film. They take away, because it has to do a lot with the Cold War, and they take away a lot of that because, America. And then there's a bunch of Dr. Pepper advertisements thrown in your face.
They really like their pop advertisements.
Yeah, right? We'll watch the Japanese version for sure. But we do own both if you guys ever want us to do 85 just to rip it apart. But 84 is the way to go. Yes, of course, the dinosaur is real after all.
Papa's always right.
I like the cape going on, though, the Red Riding Hood kind of look.
That should just be a thing that comes back. Everyone gets to wear capes now.
Everyone gets a cape. You get a cape. I get a cape. We all get a cape.
It's definitely something I could get behind. I like capes.
Yeah. Capes all the way. Except for in The Incredibles. No capes.
Yeah, no capes. Well, they always fuck up. That's their problem.
Yeah. So if I recall, so Titanosaurus weighs the same, I believe, as Godzilla. I'm gonna get the exact results here. So second generation Godzilla, which is the one we're watching here, because that's when he takes place. So he is, wow, he's actually 10,000 metric tons lighter than Titanosaurus. So Titanosaurus is 10,000 metric tons heavier.
Jesus.
Godzilla stood 50 meters tall, and Titanosaurus is definitely taller because he has the huge ass head. He's 60 meters tall. So I will say one thing though, in the Heisei series, Godzilla's size goes significantly up. And the reason for that is they do more shooting in the cities in the Heisei series rather than the countryside and towns near the water. And, you know, at the time, skyscrapers and buildings were taller than they were in the 80s than they were in the 60s and 70s, right? So Godzilla looked tiny when he walked through a city because all the skyscrapers were so much bigger.
That makes sense.
So they kind of had to increase him in size. So he goes from being 50 meters tall.
Would change.
Yeah. He goes from being 50 meters tall in the Showa series, and he ends up being 80 and 100 meters tall in the Heisei series. So he almost doubles at one point in size. Damn. And he also goes to 60,000 metric tons. So he doubles in weight. Oh, and he has really thick thighs. Wow, in the Heisei series, we have information on Wikizilla, the Godzilla Bible, for all that you guys want, all the information on Godzilla and all the Showa films in Toho's universe. Wikizilla is the place to go, wikizilla.org. They have like his circumference size of his thighs and his hips and his waist, his chest circumference, his fang size. Jesus. His grip strength is 55 million kilograms.
Basically, you're getting crushed.
Yeah, I would say so. Jesus. I don't know if they have that on this Godzilla. Let me check if they have that kind of information on him here. No, oh, they do. Not his grip strength, obviously, but his all his dimensions for his circumferences of everything. Not bad when you think of it. His hand length is only 6 meters. I mean, that's his hand, so that's pretty intense. But
massive.
This shot looks a little bad. That's one shot that doesn't really live up to its hype there. It kind of looks like he's awkwardly proportioned to the building. Just making all those flat earthers cry right there. Ah, so now he sees her sneaking away with the other professor. I hate that. You see, they jump cut, they disappear. Oh, geez. Like, there's definitely some quality drop in this movie, and I don't know why, because Ishiro Honda's done this. Like, we have all the people coming back from the originals to do this one. I don't understand why there were so many slip-ups. Maybe it's because they haven't been in the series in a while, and it had a rushed production, and like we said, it's very low budget still, because there wasn't a lot of money in these movies at the time.
At least they're using less miniatures, so you don't have to waste as much money.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. You can film on site, but I mean, I'd imagine that in Japan, permits are more expensive maybe than making miniatures.
Or reusing sets a lot more.
That is true, yeah. All the space titanium in that room is just making me so hard. I mean, oh my god, it's so funny. Look at that graphic display of a map of the Earth. So flat. So in comparison so far, would you say you enjoyed the last movie's intro and build-up, or do you like this one better?
I like how fast the last one kind of took place, but this one so far has a better build-up for me, because it's kind of like a revenge thing. Like, we're kind of getting into that. We're going to get our revenge with our upgraded version.
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of building up more to the fight, but I like how the last one just had fights throughout it all.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty dope.
Oh, Titanosaurus kind of catches on fire there, his suit. You can see on his head. I imagine I don't know if that was because like the explosion hit, or if the firework that they have placed on his neck, that when it goes off, it just stayed on and it didn't go off. You can see
Probably
them rigged on
lasted
his
a little
neck.
bit longer than they expected.
Yeah. I like the design of Titanosaurus a lot because he's like a dinosaur, but he's also very fish-like. But he has the lamest powers, man. Like, yeah, he's a giant monster, so he's strong and he's, bulletproof, but like he can swim, he can make winds with his tail, and apparently he can just it's like he's going for a slam dunk there. I like how he crushes through the house. That's a good scene. But apparently he can make gale force winds with his tail, and he also has a super kick. And we'll see that later when he kicks Godzilla and defies gravity. Not as ridiculous as the Godzilla drop kick, but definitely in that era of ridiculousness, I would say.
Oh, the drop kick will always be like the best scene to me.
Yeah.
Hold him, my boy.
Now we get to the night shots, and I think this is the first time we've seen him in this film. Right? This is the first time we've seen Godzilla, other than the recap of the last film. Grand way to make an entrance. You just see him emerge from the shadow. Cool shot.
More city fights as well.
Now that's how Godzilla makes an entrance. That's just badass. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Oh, I love how he just punches him right in the chest. I did like the fighting between the two of these guys. Honestly, like Titanosaurus and Godzilla fighting are sick, but once you throw Mecha G into the mix, it's just like, God, it's not fair. Poor Godzilla.
Set up for failure from the beginning.
Exactly. Da-na-na. Oh, see that shit? She just like eye beamed them. Oh, but they shot her. And that's the end of her death.
Oof.
Was it though? I mean, he didn't let his daughter die the first time. You think they're gonna let her die again? But notice when she dies, Titanosaurus just stops fighting. He's like, all right, I'm gonna leave now.
I'm going home.
Godzilla's like, what the hell? We're here to fight, man. Titanosaurus is like, nah, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm going home. So I think that is the first exact evidence we're given that Titanosaurus and the daughter have a telepathic connection. Like she controls Titanosaurus.
Oh, 100%.
And that's the obvious boom. And that's why and that's why part of me wants to think that they sabotaged the electricity thing and actually fried her just so they could use her for that exact reason against the doctor's wishes.
I could see that.
I don't know if they're ever fully explained that in the film, but that's definitely my theory. And that makes the most sense. I think that's what they're trying to imply. Yeah. Oh, here we go. And the infamous booby scene. There it is.
Definitely latex titties.
Yeah, this is a cool set, though. You can actually see the mechanical parts moving inside of her. Like, that's cool. I don't care what anyone says. It doesn't make any sense to how that would be making her stay alive, but it's a cool shot nonetheless.
It's like her heartbeat.
Yeah. Awesome. And obviously he's like so worried that something's gonna happen, but rest assured she'll be fine.
Cyborgs.
I know.
It's not like she's going anywhere.
Oh, see, now he's getting bitched out by the guy. He's gonna get his whip out again and start whipping him, and he's gonna love it. Not actually, but they pretty much acted without letting him know. But it's because he got, jealous because obviously he was ridiculed for believing in dinosaurs and this creature. And then so he got pissed. So he's like, fine, I'm going to show you what it's actually like. And he just made him attack without their permission, essentially.
Yeah.
And I think he thinks he's more of a partner in this than a slave. And he's gravely mistaken. Because like aliens don't partner up with humans, especially when they're trying to conquer the world. If they're partnering up with a human to conquer the world, you are a slave. Let's be real. That's kind of how it works. So there's not a lot of hope driving for our doctor here. His future just doesn't look so bright. His daughter's half cyborg now and doesn't have a lot to live for. He's on his deathbed essentially, and the aliens have complete control and say over everything he does, and the world thinks he's dead. His future is not looking too promising. So it's that time of the episode. Let's take a look at what the Rotten Tomato score is for this film. Do we have any guesses?
Like 60?
All right, okay. Yep, I can see that. Let's take a look, shall we? So the audience score is 60%. So there you go. That's what people think of it. So that's probably accurate. But the tomato meter is a whoppingly low 43%. But that's pretty high considering the other Showa series Godzilla movies. They're usually not that high.
We've gotten a few that have been super fucking low, so.
Yeah, well, the last film was Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. That one had a high rating. Like, it has 75%. But the other ones are usually pretty... Okay, we have to point out something, though, folks. Son of Godzilla is a 60% score. Jesus. This movie is 43.
Good.
I know. What are they thinking?
It was awful. Jeez. That was pure burning trash.
Yep, I agree. I absolutely agree. So 43% is what this one sits at. I don't know if I fully agree with that. And it's weird too, on the US poster, still called Terror of Mechagodzilla, but King Shizar is on the cover. He's not, they removed him from the intro. They wanted you to forget about him, but they put him on the poster. Like Godzilla and Megalon on top of the World Trade Center all over again. Oh my goodness. Oh, interesting. This is actually super weird. This was the first movie ever to be rated TV-14 on the Disney Channel. So I guess this is the most graphic movie, the first really graphic movie they had on the Disney Channel. That's really funny. So interesting enough, obviously Tanaka and Toho had contacted the girl who did the screenplay, and when they were talking about who they wanted to direct, it was actually super cool because it was actually Takayama, the girl who did the screenplay herself, who requested for Honda to Ishiro Honda to direct her screenplay. She said that when Honda learned that Takayama was also from Yamagata in Japan, he decided to take the project on strictly just because he liked the idea and they were from the same area. So he thought it was like destiny that he went back and did one more Godzilla film. So thank you for getting Ishiro Honda to come back and do one last film. That is like your greatest success, girl. You wrote a great screenplay, but also you got Ishiro Honda to come back and do a Godzilla film. That is awesome.
That she actually was a fan of the movies.
Yep, 100%. And to think about it, which is really cool, the actress who's playing the daughter, the cyborg in this movie, she was born in 1984. 1984. Sorry, that means she's a time traveler. 1954, which is the if you remember the original year that the original Gojira was released. So she was born the year the first Gojira movie came out, and now she would have been 21, and she's starring in a Godzilla film.
Damn,
super interesting. I thought that was really cool. It just shows how long the Showa series. Right, the Showa series is that long that it happened the year someone was born, and they made it to 21 years old to star in the last one. That's a long ass film series. Obviously, Godzilla kept going, but this is 15 films that all are in continuity and were meant to be viewed together. Like, that's crazy. TV shows go on forever. Movies don't usually maintain that kind of like they don't maintain a viewership and a constant following like that. Like movies weren't known to do that. Like we were talking about James Bond movies maybe, but TV was the way you did that.
Helmets are fucking ridiculous.
I know, they're ridiculous as heck. I like I don't know if for anyone who, they're these silver helmets. They kind of look like at first bike helmets, but then they have these like shark fins on top and these really silly sex toy looking antlers coming out the sides, like Teletubby horns. out of either side. And then they've got this red logo, this swirl. And for those who know it, EA Origin on PC, the little orange swirl for Origin, it's that but red, essentially, which is just classic. So at this moment, we're kind of getting in like 20-ish, 30-ish minutes left of the film. So this is when the kaiju action is going to start hitting. So at this point, they've totally, you can tell now they're controlling her because she died and they were able to do more work on her. So now, unlike before when, the robotic control they had on her, she was fighting her real life feelings and her humility, the balance between like her trying to be herself, but also being controlled. It was cool to watch that tear back and forth. But now she's being reconstructed by the aliens. So now she's like, at least for now, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, 100% cyborg, and they have full control over her. So, like, pretty wild. Yeah. So Mechagodzilla is flying out now.
Rebuilt, I guess.
Yeah, he's been rebuilt. So he looks a little different. Obviously, they show in the beginning of the film they're looking for Mechagodzilla's head to rebuild him because obviously, Godzilla ripped it off in the last one, but everything else blew up. So at least there's a little bit of continuity continuation there. Have you ever seen Pacific Rim?
No.
So in Pacific Rim, it's another big kaiju movie that Guillermo del Toro, I think, wrote and directed. And the whole idea is monsters are coming to Earth, and trying to destroy it. And they're these giant, like Jaeger, these giant mechs, these people pilot, and they connect through their brain to control it. But the power is too strong. So they have two pilots that have to both connect together and their brains have to be compatible to both work together. And then they control the mechs together. And that's kind of how they control the suits. In this one girl, okay, is going to be controlling with her mind both Mechagodzilla and Titanosaurus.
Jesus.
So, in Pacific Rim, one brain is not enough power to pilot this giant mech. But hey, one girl can pilot a full mechanized Godzilla and a dinosaur. They got nothing on this girl. She's badass. More explosions. I feel like there's less explosions in this one because Jun Fukuda, obviously the last film was Jun Fukuda's last film. Interesting enough, do you know who the original director was? Who was in talks to direct this before she asked for Ishiro Honda? Tanaka was actually talking about getting Bono back.
Oh God,
Yoshimitsu Bono, who did Godzilla versus Hedorah.
Yeah, and didn't they not like that one?
Yeah, and he was so against him. He's like, I'm never letting you direct a Godzilla movie again, blah, blah, blah. But yet, wanted to do it. So Ishiro Honda's back, which means we are going to get awesome city destruction. That's just what he likes to do. And there is one of my favorite shots. It just looks so incredible when it happens. It's coming up soon because I know what happens in this city. But it's literally one of the coolest special effects shots, in my opinion, from the Showa films. It's so... I wouldn't say it's well done, but it's definitely effective. See, now he says what to do, and then she makes them do it. Incredible. She's controlling two kaijus.
She's a tank.
So, and this is all new footage too as well, not stock footage, which is nice. The destruction is just insane. Like, look at this. That is an awesome shot. And it only gets better. That's not the shot I'm talking about, but like... amazing shots. For those who aren't watching, Mecha G just does this pan where he just eye beams this entire street of buildings one by one. They explode, and it's just an array of beautiful practical effects. Oh, now it's Titanosaurus's turn to show off his skill. And what can Titanosaurus do?
Backflip.
Sweet fuck all. Oh, just kidding. So his tail expands into this webbing, and he can create gale force winds.
They really like winds in this world.
I know. Winds aren't effective. Like, they're cool, yeah, but I think they were only good in Rodan because like Rodan was more of a city destruction thing. But like, what is gale force winds going to do to Godzilla? You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, their intent was to use Titanosaurus to destroy Earth and use Mechagodzilla to destroy Godzilla. I know that's the plan. Like yin and yang here of the fighting core, but like, I don't know. It's all right. I still like Titanosaurus's design. I think they really pulled off giving him the long neck without it making obvious that the head is just above the chest plate.
Exactly.
Which I think was a big issue for Rodan and the earlier ones, as you pointed out. But this one, it looks a lot better. Yeah. Yeah, like these shots are a little not okay. I don't like these ones. They look a little bad, but so I think we're coming up on the scene where there's a scene where Mecha G literally like blows up the ground and the whole like I think it was an accident. The table I think that the miniatures were on caved in, so it looks like an entire like plate in the earth erupts and there's like a giant earthquake and it's just the coolest goddamn shot. But I think it was an accident because it looks like the table collapses and everything falls inwards. I don't think it was supposed to happen, but it looked great, so they kept it.
Now I'm just looking out for it.
Oh, they put it front and center. Don't worry. Okay. I like how the eyes move there on Titanosaurus. I like how they have him with moving eyes because they, with how much his eyes blend in with the color of his scales, they definitely could have just not made his eyes move. But the little touch there with his eye moving is really cool. It's like Mecha G blows everything up and then Titanosaurus spreads it all over. This is the scene right here. Because this is this. Yeah, ready? Because this is the set that caves in. Here we go. I love this shot. It's time. Bang, bang, finger rockets go. Boom, 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 boom.
Go, gadget.
They go rockets. Underground. Boom. And see how it all caves down?
Yeah, I definitely think the set just kind of collapsed.
Yeah, but it was awesome. It looks so cool. Such a cool shot. Considering like that, sometimes, you know, when shit goes wrong, sometimes it goes right, you know? Goes wrong for all the right reasons. So this is funny. Another thing. So his name's Ken, and I can't help but think, well, is that Ken from was it Godzilla versus Hedorah?
Maybe like an older.
Yeah, because he's grown up.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, a lot of people were named Ken, so it's hard to tell. So these kids run away, obviously, and they're killed essentially by Titanosaurus there. Now, in the North American cut, it was actually shown so the kids run away and then Godzilla comes in and saves the day, and that's how it was viewed in the American cut. But in this cut, it shows Titanosaurus stepping on them, kind of. So it shows that, you know, he killed them, and then Godzilla's like, no, I'm going to get back at you. Here we go. This is a cool shot. The slow pan around the three monsters facing off. Now, I think the thing is, though, I don't think she controls both at once. I think she controls one at a time. Because notice how Mecha G
back and forth.
Yeah, because Mecha G's just standing there right now, right? And Titanosaurus is doing it, and then I'm pretty sure she stops controlling Titanosaurus, and he just kind of goes, "Well, what the hell's going on?" And then Mecha G comes in and screws everything up, fucks it up really. But so here we go. The Gale Force wins, kind of, I guess, kind of holding him back a little bit, but he's still trudging forward. Like it's not hurting him by any means. So maybe it might prevent him from getting close, but it's not going to hurt him by any means. Oh, just kidding. Mecha G attacks, so she is controlling both.
Tank of a woman.
Literally, it's got all the guys on Pacific Rim scared running to the hills, their tails between their legs. Oh, here we go. Titanosaurus's gravity-defying kick. So extra. He literally flew upwards, and it was the smallest kick. So what we need to take away from this, guys, is Titanosaurus doesn't skip leg day. He's just jacked. He's got the thunder thighs before Godzilla had the thunder thighs, okay? That's a Heisei joke. We'll get there. Interesting fact, besides the new singular point, Godzilla has the fattest thighs in the Heisei series. That's not true. Actually, Shin Godzilla has pretty thick thighs too, but I like this one. Titanosaurus just tackles him through the building. Great shot. It's like I do like the fighting in this one. It's good. Like, but like you said, I feel like the other one just picked up pace faster. This one's a little more of a slow brew, but it has a really interesting story. Like you could have definitely done a whole movie just on like this relationship between this cyborg woman and her father and doing the right thing against the humans. Like they could have done a whole movie about that.
And then also trying to fit in the whole revenge scheme from the alien dudes.
Yeah, like you could have just done a sci-fi alien film without the kaijus.
Yeah, and you can get kind of like the best of both worlds, and they added a little more of a build-up. So I don't know. I like the other one just because it was straight to the point, but this one had a little more
and there was more depth. Okay. Like we haven't really seen, like we saw the one guy with throat, silence. He got shot to death. But in the last one, we were getting like the aliens dying left and right and the transformations of them turning ape. Like we haven't seen an ape transformation yet in this one. Oh, Oh, just when is he gonna do it still? Nah, he's like, I don't got the power anymore. I like how he stalls for a minute, like he's like, oh, I've been shot. Can I do it? No. And then he falls back down. Titanosaurus just judo rolls out of it like nothing. Godzilla's like, oh, dude, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm taking a nap. And then Mecha G's like, just kidding, finger rockets. Oh. Here comes the US military, though, because they're attacking them, not Godzilla, right? Because Godzilla's helping. Godzilla's still kind of viewed the hero in this movie, and that's why, for better or for worse, better in my opinion, this is the last film where Godzilla really takes on the hero role. He's very much considered the bad guy in every Heisei movie, with a little bit of bend to some of the stories, but he still causes shit. I like the fighting in this, like the hand-to-hand combat. Like I find Godzilla and Titanosaurus trading blows is rad. Like see how he just judo kicks him and then picks him up with his mouth. Look at this shit. Boom! Smacks him in the neck. Just throat punches Godzilla.
Mechagodzilla's just waiting for his turn.
He's like waiting for my moment to shine. And here come the finger missiles again. We know how these are effective last time. This is funny. Godzilla's smoking. Literally. That's a nice little comedic moment. I thought that was kind of funny. He gets shot in the gut
and get a little smoke.
Yeah, I guess the idea is that he shoots the missile into him, and that's like the explosion going on inside of his stomach, and that's why has smoke coming out of his mouth. And then Titanosaurus drop kicks him into the ravine again. I think I always loved how Mecha G always just like grows new finger missiles after he shoots them. Yeah, they're burying. Remember, we were talking about live burials? It's literally what they're doing to Godzilla right now. Burying the poor guy alive.
Way. He'll just have a nap, come back in another movie. Bing, bang, boom.
Take a nap. They can go conquer the world and destroy it all. Titanosaurus. It's like, he's making sure you're dead. See, he's signing his name. He's like, this is mine. This is what I did. This was like my doing. Snow. Yeah, this is mine now. My territory. Classic. Oh, here we go. This looks some experimental weaponry we got going on here. Ideally, I think it's kind of similar to what they did in the last. Remember when they used the metal to stop the transmission from them talking to Mecha G?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they're trying to do here again and try and stop her from communicating with the creatures so Godzilla can take them down. Well, or at least so Mecha G will stop working.
At least try.
Yeah, and that's why I thought it was silly. I'm like, like there is in one case it's coming up where they thought ahead from the last movie because they're like, have they not learned? Like I don't like they do learn in some ways, as we'll find out in a bit, but like for that reason they haven't learned.
And for that reason I'm out.
Yeah. So, I mean, watching these movies, it went by a lot faster than you thought. It just seemed like yesterday we were watching the original 1954 black and white, and we're already here.
Yeah, I'd have to agree because I was bugging you about it. I'm like, man, this is going to take forever. But like in the end, that was not bad.
And I'll say it for three things. The reason it's like that. One, they're short films. They're like an hour and 20, 25 minutes usually. So they kind of go by quick that way. Two, they're good time movies. People say if you're having a good time, time flies by. And especially watching it like, with me, who's pretty knowledgeable in it. Like I try and tend to keep these movies pretty interesting because not going to lie, in some of them, they get a little boring and a little dull and it's important to liven it up. So that probably helped too. And three is every movie is dramatically different. Like they all kind of carry similarities and they reuse like alien plots and stuff like that. But for the grand scheme of things, every film has a different feel and it feels like a fresh idea kind of, you know what I mean? Kind of like the James Bond movies. It is the same shit every time, but every movie definitely does feel like its own movie. You know what I mean? So I feel like that has a lot to help.
Added different weird storylines that weren't really necessary. So that's kind of why I like the later ones because they have a little bit of story, but it's more of why they're doing it or why there's someone attacking. Not we're gonna put a love interest. Also, Godzilla's here.
I like that Titanosaurus is holding his hands behind his back, like, like kind of stepping on him. It's a nice little touch. So here they're trying to disrupt his transmitter there. Titanosaurus, what are you doing, bro? See, now they're pissed. He's like, what's going on? This guy's gonna escape.
Colonel Sanders needs to calm down. Like,
right? I mean, this is his whole life's work going into this. And her head's, you can see she's kind of having a freaking migraine headache because obviously she's getting hit with all that. Everything Titanosaurus feels, she feels, and everything
like
she feels.
Effect.
Yeah,
or little story thing added.
How they're kind of connected.
Yeah,
I love it a lot. Yeah, I think it's one of the many things this film has going for it. I do, and I think Mecha G looks more gritty and dirty and more metal like. He looks almost too space titanium like in the last one. Oh, Godzilla's
one was
like
a lot more shinier. Like this one's got like a black wash over it.
Yeah, exactly. I like and more edges. Godzilla just pops out of the ground. I'm back, bitches. So Titanosaurus is out of commission now. They've kind of fried his brain transmitter so they can't talk to him anymore. That was kind of the whole idea. So now it's just Godzilla and Mechagodzilla fighting, which is why, as you can see, Mecha G is unleashing everything under his arsenal right now. Look at this fireworks display. Blam, 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 blam. Poor Godzilla, man. This guy goes through fucking thick and thin.
How much ammo does he have? When does he run out?
Infinite.
Where the fuck does he store it? Up his butt?
Godzilla's like, I just got to get close enough and rip this dude's head off. It worked last time.
Agreed.
Exactly what he's going for. Godzilla's a creature of habit. He understands. But you think they would have like maybe figured out a way to stop that from happening again, but cool shot there. Godzilla's suit caught on fire and they just left it and ran with it. Classic. Because I believe who's playing Godzilla in this one. So we get the exact role here. So Godzilla is played by a guy named Toro Kawai. And he was just Godzilla in this one, but he was a lot in the Ultraman series. Same with Kazunari Mori. I think he played Mechagodzilla in the last one.
Yep.
And Tatsume Nikamoto played Titanosaurus. He did a lot of television, and did a lot of Zone Fighter. So we'll see him in Zone Fighter, but this is, I think, his only time in the Showa film series playing Titanosaurus. But you know who we get as Godzilla in the next film? Our one man, the only living legend after Nakajima, Kenpachiro Satsuma.
I knew you were going to say that.
Who is our Hedera and Gigan in the Showa series. And in a lot of ways, Nakajima's like successor and friend. And true passing of the torch. Titanosaurus is out, bro. Give up on that. He's like, I don't want to fight. I got a headache. I got a migraine. I'm done. He's like, I'm going to go back and go to sleep. They're just going to keep beaming him and let Godzilla take care of Mechagodzilla. That's how it should be done. They just got to learn. Oh, here we go. So I know we were bitching about how we haven't seen any transformations of the space Sibians or the black hole aliens transforming like apes like the last one.
Yeah.
So let's see what they turn into when they kill them this time. It's a little different. And I imagine that because the last time they made them apes was obviously to capitalize on the success of Planet of the Apes, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like this being a little bit after, they realized maybe do something a little different. Like they're kind of still ape-like. But like the effect is better. See how it's like in a latex mask instead, and then you see like their distorted
like
face.
The monkey.
Yeah, I think they were trying to get away from it, but she under control. So now you see the battle between whether love or the robotic side of her. Who's gonna win? Oh.
She's bleeding.
Yeah, which proves she's not fully robotic.
Yeah.
So she is bionic. Oh.
No. Spin that head.
So in the North American cut, it rips off the head. You think that's the end of Mechagodzilla this time, though?
He's got a new head.
What's this? Da-da-da-da. He's got a secret head underneath.
It's ridiculous. Now he's pissed.
Beam. It's like the command center, right? So it can still operate. Like some Sleepy Hollow headless horseman shit. Titanosaurus is still having a fit. Like, I've got a migraine headache. Ah! It's too good. Oh. And there's the official last roll. Pico Harada. His last cryo. Here it is. And that's the last time we see him in a Godzilla movie, folks. Amen. Nice little clap for him. Good man.
Later, little buddy. So
in the North American version, this is kind of the last you see of these characters, and they don't really tell you what happens to her. They kind of keep all this and same with his death there. That's all not in the North American cut. They kept all the death, all the violence out, which is awful. We got the original though, so it's perfect. So she thinks it's her father. It's her fault that her father's dead, right? And all this happened. And you really start to see the battle between cyborg and human. And then you see the tear showing that she's human. It's actually a really cute scene. Very uncharacteristic for a Godzilla film, but I love it. This is where the big moment happens, though. So she wants to sacrifice herself because once she dies, Mechagodzilla's controller will disable and he'll be useless.
Ah, fair enough. I was like, why?
So it's in a way she uses the ultimate sacrifice to save what she's done. And this was all taken out of the North American version. And it's a damn shame because it's like such a great emotional scene. It really makes the movie what it is. I don't know. I just feel like the North American cut's really bad, and this is like makes this movie a hell of a lot better. And I feel like the creator of, I'm drawing a blank on her name, Takayama, who did the screenplay for this, I bet you she was pretty pissed if she found out the North American version was, so edited out when all of her deep meaning was involved in the film. So kudos to her, though. Can we just talk about this is the first screenplay she ever did? Like, it was for a school project, and this is what came out of it. Awesome work.
She must be a really talented writer. I wonder what else she did after this.
So she did a few things. She did a few, like, I think there was like a samurai film or something like that. She did a few other things like that. And unfortunately, it was quoted in one of the interviews at G-Fest she gave that she said that she was really looking forward to the 1998 Americanized Godzilla film. Oof. Hope she didn't see it, because that's an awful goddamn Godzilla movie. We'll get to that one too, but it was so bad, like we talked about before, that Toho had to bring Godzilla back and do their own series again so that his name wasn't slandered all over media. And he didn't die forever.
Lol.
Haha, the aliens will live on forever. Haha, haha. Okay, where are you going to go once you get in the water, dumbass? Your space titanium can't protect you there. So Mechagodzilla's out. No, Titanosaurus is just getting his ass handed to him. Oh, I see. They've got little ships. Space titanium ships they're taking off him. Those aren't going to get very far. Godzilla's like, no. This big grand thing. They're like, yeah, we're going to get away. And Godzilla just looks up. Hey, what's that? Dead. Love it. Great. God. So yeah, I mean, like, I feel like this movie is the definition of great screenplay, great ideas, and this is the definition. This and 1984, and obviously the original Godzilla, are the definition of, North American distributors messing with good content. Because if we watched the other film, this would have been a very different movie. And I think this is the only time Titanosaurus is ever used in a movie. He's referenced in Godzilla Final Wars as a toy, but that's about it. And he's in some of the video games, but he's never been in any other movies. which is a shame because I think he's an interesting character. I think what he would have been before with the two Titans forming together would have been pretty cool too, but I think what they ended up with was still a good product. Alrighty, folks. So we are kind of closing in on the end here of this tragic sci-fi love story.
Just gonna leave her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are you gonna do, right? She's robotic.
Barrier?
I guess. They might in the future, but at least for now.
Just leave her.
They were gonna leave her in the facility to get blown up by any means. So this Godzilla looks really off, and you'll notice that. This is the one thing I don't understand. This is Godzilla's big goodbye. Obviously, this is the last film they were planning. And they used the promotional suit, who was Mechagodzilla in the last one. And his like face doesn't move or anything. So it kind of looks silly for the water shot because they didn't want to wreck the suit. But I'm like, why did it matter if you weren't going to do any more Godzilla films? Just wreck the suit and have one good send-off.
Yeah, but I like how like not dramatic, but like sad this is supposed to be because like you're supposed to be like, bye Godzilla, you know, we'll see you again one day.
I notice how we always get the wave goodbye in these movies, but this one is just like the dramatic ending instead of the wave goodbye. There we go. And the Showa series has come to a close, ladies and gentlemen.
Can't believe we made it to 1975.
Right? Dang. Guys, thank you so much for being part of this journey. Josh, thank you for being part of this journey. No worries, I
had fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed them because, like I said, they're a particular taste. Let's put it that way.
I'm gonna force my kids to watch these when I have them.
Bro, if you're a kid and you watch these movies when you're a kid, this is the best shit you will ever watch.
Exactly. Like I guaranteed if I watched this when I was younger, dude, me and you would be the biggest nerds of life. Right? But I never had anyone to show me this kind of stuff.
Well, they're hard to get their hands on. Like I only had 2 growing up. Yeah,
it's even better because now we got money, we can watch them, and we can buy toys.
And we can go buy the toys. So I'm getting so mad at all these kids these days watching the Legendary movies and like trying to buy these toys, and parents are getting mad, being like, "Oh, all these scalpers and older people are buying up all the toys. Like my kid has nothing to play with." I'm like, "Bitch, try being a kid when these movies first came out, and they didn't even sell them in North America. And you had to ship them in from Japan, and even that was like an arm and a leg, and you had to beg for them. So you didn't have toys. So bite me." You could barely get your hands on the movies. Your kids are lucky they get to watch anything at all. Rant over.
This is why you nerds buy them all.
Exactly. So, folks, with that being said, we're going to be continuing on with our bonus series for all the Friday the 13th films for sure. But as a Showa series, this has come to an end. We will be tackling Zone Fighter and some older Toho monster movies in the future. But we are said, like we were talking about earlier, we're going to kickstart our way right into the Heisei series. Starting off with Godzilla 1984, doing that 9-year jump and getting to the cream of the crop Godzilla films. Can't wait to show Josh, and I can't wait to enjoy them with all of you because they are going to be legendary, and not the legendary Godzilla movies, just legendary in general.
Wait for it.
Dairy. Sorry, the Barney Stinson. What am I saying? MPH. So with that being said, folks, as well, we are going to be doing a special ranking episode for you guys where we're going to rank our worst to our favorite Godzilla movies from the Showa series. Obviously, me and Josh's opinions are going to be different. We'll have a little episode like that for you guys as well. We'll be ranking each era, being the Showa, the Heisei, and then the Millennium, and then the Reiwa era, all separately. And then once we're done all of them, we might even tackle a full listing of all 37 movies. But that's when we get to it. But we'll definitely be doing a ranking for the Showa series. And whether you agree or disagree with it, we'd love to hear your opinions as well. You can always contact us at the usual socials, Twitter at Killer Kaiju Cast, and then everything else is Killer Kaiju Podcast, that being our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as well. Feel free to email us at killerkaijupodcast@gmail.com if there's another monster movie you'd like to see from this era, or if you'd like to share some fun facts or opinions on these films as well. Or like I said on YouTube, just leave below in the comments. So guys, with that coming to a close, we are so happy that if you've been here from the beginning, you've enjoyed this journey, or if you're just stopping in, we hope you enjoyed this movie, and we can't wait to start another journey, the Heisei versus series. It's a big one, but a short one, and it's well-deserved and well-loved, and we can't wait to start that journey with you guys as well. Until next time, guys, take care, and we will see you with the beginning of Ken Pachiro Satsuma's legendary slate of films, the Heisei series. Have a good night, guys. Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.